Lisa Gold has been serving the creative community as a coach and teacher of the business of show for almost 20 years. As a professional singer, she walks the walk of a performing artist as well as being a business owner of acting-related companies, such as Actors Connection in New York and Act Outside the Box that serves creatives online all over the world. This blend of show and business is what brings inspired focus to those artists whose true desire is to share their gifts with the world and get paid handsomely at the same damn time. Awesome. So, Lisa, you are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your wisdom and experience and life with our audience. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. So we're going to dive right into the question and theme of the day, which is rising from the ashes. So, Lisa, how has that principle and mindset of being able to rise from the ashes and difficult situations, come back, bounce back, how has that showed up for you in your life and with clients as well?
Wow. Well, I don't know where I learned this expression that every great breakthrough comes from a breakdown. So, there's contrast. One of the big things that I believe in life is everything's front of the hand, back of the hand, light and dark. We're living in a world of contrast. So rising from the ashes is just that, I guess, the bad stuff that happens and then the good stuff that happens. And, life's a roller coaster. So I think people get into trouble when they think nothing bad should happen. But if you realize that life, that's what life is. It's one obstacle after another. Once you create a new desire, there's something that automatically, it's just the way the world works, that gets in your path. So if you look at it like maybe even the ashes are not a disaster, but the ashes are the fertilizer, right? To which you plant new seeds for what comes next. You want an example or?
Yes, bring it.
All right. I am going to share something that I don't really share with a lot of folks, but I got involved in what turned out to be a Ponzi scheme in 2008. This is before the fall of the economy. Things were going really well for everybody. I had money. I was investing, and this happened before Robert Madoff, which is the most famous Ponzi scheme out there in recent memory. And I felt when it happened to me like, oh my God, what an idiot I am. And I blamed myself and I thought I did due diligence. And I lost a lot of money. I brought in somebody to my business to help with cash flow for the business because of it, because that was affected also. That person kind of railroaded me into another area. I lost my salary. I mean, so much happened to me in the 2008 fall of the economy, Ponzi scheme, owed money, lost my credit, all of that. And I will admit that I didn't just bounce right back, and say, oh, well, I can, I didn't at the time. For a short time, I didn't do well. But I have always known I have this and I have this, my head and my heart. And so I will never be broke. And I just saw something in the future where I could take what I'd done and I created another business and something closer to my heart, which was Act Outside the Box. And, I learned a lot from that period of time. I don't think I would be who I am today or where I am today if I hadn't have gone through that experience. So not only have I recouped that loss, I'm up, and I feel that what I've gained as a human being is priceless. So there you go.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And what a beautiful story and journey. And we're already diving into the juicy bits. So thank you for sharing. And why don't you share a little bit more about what you're creating in the world, teaching people to act and empowering them with their gifts?
Well, I don't teach people how to act. I teach people how to be able to act and make a living at it.
Cool.
Huge distinction. You can act and be the greatest actor in the world in your living room.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to do it as a profession and make a living at it, what's kind of missing in traditional schools where you go to school to become an actor is that it's a business called show business. And it seems that everybody else in show business knows it's a business. And the bottom line of every business is to provide value and get paid for it in return. Yes. Actors just seem to want to express and be creative. And here's the thing, Chris, they didn't get into the business for the money. Because they don't know it's a business. So what I love is to take these wonderful, creative, gifted, talented people, of which I also consider myself one of, and teach them regular business and marketing skills that I've learned from being a business owner myself for the experience, as well as the education that I've gone out and gotten in business. And I've kind of brought it into my head and I garble it up and I spit it out in what I call actor speak so that it can be understood. I use a lot of analogies so that it's not like, going to an economics class, right? That's boring and no fun. And so I feel like I'm just as creative as an entertainer and a singer that's my talent. And what I do is that's like my new stage. I love bringing this information, but with inspiration, because information without inspiration is useless if nobody's going to actually apply it. And that's where act outside the box is a double entendre. The act is for action, not necessarily acting. And I think that what I've learned, I just translated into this particular community because it's, my biggest community, but I could have taken that information and parlayed it just as well into another sector. So it's valuable information that anybody who has a desire to take something and make it into an income producing vehicle, whether it's, being an actor or whether it's wanting to start a business of your own or, anything like that. From here to out here, from thought to manifestation, there are steps that you can take. So I love doing that.
Amazing. Amazing. Yes.
Okay.
So you also sing. Tell us about that and what that is like for you.
Okay. I love to sing. I grew up in a show business family. My father was a comedian and a singer. I consider myself a singer who tells jokes once in a while.
Nice.
I started out, my very first professional job ever was at age 16 in a music, a theme park. So it was called Carowinds Amusement Park. It was on the border of still is on the border of North and South Carolina. The state line runs right through the park. And I did 6 shows a day, 5 days a week. And I got paid, well, back then, I won't tell you the year. Well, whatever. It's been a while, a few years at least. But that's how I got my start. And then I went on to sing with bands. So I had my own band called Touch of Gold.
Ooh, I love it. Love it.
Gold, I had to use that. So I was a wedding band singer for a while. And then I went on to do studio jingles. And then I started to get into musical theater. And and then I also toured with a big band. It was great. An orchestra, 17-piece orchestra. One of my biggest claims to fame is that I sang for the 20th anniversary of the lunar landing.
Wow.
So if those of you who were around, when were you born?
91.
Oh! So do you know when we landed on the moon?
69.
69. 20th anniversary.
JFK, I knew he's like, let's go.
So the 20th anniversary was 89, before you were born.
Okay.
And it was great. I sang with a big band. I got paid, and I was in the room with Alan Shepard, who stepped on the moon, the very first man on the moon, Buzz Aldrin. Yep. And a lot of people don't know who Mike Collins is, but he was the one who had to stay up in the capsule and keep it all running.
Ooh.
And he was there, hosted by Walter Cronkite, all these people in the room. It was such a pleasure. I sang for President Bush senior
Wow.
on 2 occasions, once with the big band and once in a musical theater production in Houston with the Houston Grand Opera. I went on to entertain and headline on cruise ships. I don't know. I've done private parties. What else? Oh, I moved to New York to pursue Broadway. I did off Broadway. I never really did do a Broadway show. I ended up taking what I call the right turn instead of a left turn into that business side of the business, which is when I was, pursuing my acting career. I had the opportunity to work at what is now a competing company and learned this business through which I then purchased and then grew Actors Connection. So I started to concentrate on helping other people with their career and opening doors. That's our, little tagline. We open doors. Access is the biggest barrier to anybody fulfilling their dream as a performing artist. So, and now, just recently, I'm getting back into the private party circuit here in Los Angeles. So my next gig is coming up, and it is a woman who's turning 100.
Wow.
So I get to sing a lot of songs from her era, which is not quite my era yet, but I already know a lot of them. I don't have to learn them. I love to sing, so there you go.
That's beautiful, beautiful. So let's go back now a little bit into, those earlier years. And you don't have to tell me any specific years or time.
Oh, that's okay. I am 55 years old. That's what I am.
Perfect. I love it.
The number of years that I've been on the planet. Do I feel that? Do I think that? Hell no. But yeah, so it's out there.
You're radiant, Lisa. Stop it. You're radiant. Cool. So let's go back to those earlier years. And, what was that journey like? What were some of the challenges to get to where we are today? You mentioned about 2008, but other lessons, other principles that you picked up along the way that you feel our audience could really glean from your experience.
I think the biggest demons we have to fight are up here. I've always said that an acting career was really only 6 inches. It's a 6-inch, leap from here to here. I don't know too many other, and I'll just keep using the example of show business because that's kind of my background.
Let's go.
I don't know too many other jobs where you willingly go in knowing you're going to hear no 99 times out of 100. So a lot of what I've gone through and a lot of what many people do go through is how do you separate who you are as a person from that rejection of your talents being offered. It's the same thing as a regular business person or even, listen, I use a lot of it now, even dating. Like if you're dating, there's a lot of frogs before you get your handsome prince. So there's a gap between what we say we want and getting what we want, and how we are and who we behave as, and our, not only our reactions to, but what we create in that gap is the determining factor. So I think the biggest, I don't like to use the word issue, I don't like to use the word problem, but the biggest thing to focus on is who are we in that absence of getting where we want to go, that ashes to, what is it, the Phoenix Rising, and who's that? Is it Emerson who does that quote where the only thing you really have control over is your attitude? You can't control what other people think of you. You can't control circumstances. I can't control what you think of me. I can't control any of that. I can only control my attitude, my reactions, my listening, my filters. And, honestly, I've grown a lot, but I still see myself doing things that I've been hooked by. But now I notice them quicker. And now I have a choice to choose a different response, to choose a different point of view. And I think that's the greatest gift anybody could learn and give themselves, is this ability to not only see one thing from one point of view, but to have that worldview of, oh, I could look at it this way or I could look at it this way, but have the awareness to know you always have a choice. Always.
And that's like wisdom too, like wisdom to know, hey, that my limited thinking is probably, if I'm confronted by something, if I'm dealing with something, get other perspectives, either my own, go meditate, go sit on a hill, whatever it might be, to get that access, or, find a mentor or coach or someone who we respect who can like bounce ideas off of.
I've moved from being a person who's kind of I'm a pushy girl, right? I know how to get what I want. I have learned how to get what I want. And I don't mean like by force and like not caring what other people think, but if I want something, I know how to go after it and get it.
That's right.
I've now moved into a stage in my life where I'm more about receiving the message, being aware, being, just keeping my vibe high. And being inspired by the smallest things, a bird chirping or my dog looking at me a particular way. And as I've stopped kind of outflow and have allowed more inflow, so much has come to me. It's crazy what's going on right now. I mean, opportunities and people and connections, and then stuff that if you would have asked me 6 months ago what my life could possibly look like now, I couldn't have imagined. And things I did imagine that I'm creating. But it's just, I love my life. And I love life in general. And I love to share with people that if you're searching for something, if you're seeking something that is not present right now that you want in the future, it's coming. You just have to line up and be open and receive and listen. And that's what I love about meditation. Just get into that space where you just clear and you're just now a conduit to receive what you allow in.
I love that. And, I hear openness, I hear being able to receive, and I also hear kind of surrendering to the process, right? Like not having the attachment or the need to have it right now, having the patience. It's like open to how the universe is going to deliver it on the universe's time, in the universe's way.
Exactly. And it's a trust.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't trust. And I wish I could articulate it, and maybe I'll get better at it. In this interview, but there's something about believing in there. There's like, people have a lot of great intentions and they even take a lot of actions around those intentions. But there's something that if you don't align with this great belief that it will occur and trust that the universe is going to deliver, that creates like a resistance, like a magnet, to opposing magnets, and you'll never get there. You can't get there from there, right? So I sit there and I go, well, how could I articulate to someone else? How could I teach someone else? And sometimes one of my great coaches and mentors, has the saying is that words don't teach, only experience teaches. So I can talk till I'm blue in the face, but if you don't take what I'm saying and go out there and try it for yourself, you really just can't get there from there. So,
what else I think of in terms of learning is stories, metaphors, other people who have done that. And especially with acting, you can get people involved in the act. Like, what does that look like? You can have it become more interactive. Like, actors are more willing to jump in and play the role and see what it feels like. What is it like to be on the receiving end of this? What is it like to be on the giving end of this and feel it both ways? I think that's a huge part of really imparting that wisdom versus just telling people. So many people are out there just like telling people what to do, and it's like, how do I give you a story? How do I give you an example? How do I help you take the steps and like be there as you're taking the steps?
I think communication and the way we speak and the way we listen are the whole enchilada, right?
Yes.
Oh, I'm hungry. I'm going to go have Mexican food. Okay. It is the whole enchilada, this whole communication, this, what you're saying, what I'm saying. And what's really interesting around actors, because I work with a lot of them, is they're great when they're in a classroom or when they're in a scene, but then they don't realize that you have that same opportunity in their life, in your life, to listen to your mother a different way, or to listen to your husband or your wife a different way, or communicate in a different way, to try it on like a scene. That in our regular real lives, and I don't know how many people in your audience are creatives or performing artists, but whoever's listening out there, a lot of people will go and do an improv class. Regular folk, will go take an improv class just for that sheer playfulness of trying it on for size. And so if you're out there listening, and you don't even have to go take a class to do it, just realize that whatever scene is going on right now, you can alter the scene just like an actor can by taking on a different perspective or a different, when you do a class like, now do it angry, now do it sad, now do it happy, faster, funnier, whatever, just try a different attitude. And the outcome of the manifested reality has to shift. So everything is not just one way. So that speaking and listening, that communication is key. And again, I come back to business, whether it's the business of show or any business. If you want somebody to look at your product, if you want somebody to buy something, if you want somebody to give you a job, if you want somebody to date you, if you want whatever you want over there from that person, you have to actually not say what you want, but say what you offer, so that they can see where the value for them is in participating with you. And you just shift the whole conversation that way.
And on our the intake form that you filled out, we wrote communication is key, right? Yes. Like it's what creates our reality. It's like the words do matter. Words are powerful. And what I also heard in what you're sharing, I was thinking about the date, right? Of course, single guy thinking about like, how do I get the date? So we got to share and convey what our value is. We got to speak that, and oftentimes it's not telling someone, I mean, this is my perspective. It's not really telling someone like what it is that I have to offer, but it's telling them about my life so that they get involved, so that they feel a part of it, so that they want to be a part of the magic, the experience. And I think a whole nother level to that, or the backside of that, is like the being. Who are we being? How do we feel about ourselves? What's going on in our life that has that person want to get involved because we're doing it, we're taking action, we're showing up in a way that's, generous or kind or respectful or courageous or out to create an empire, whatever that might be.
I think that the listener is always listening for what do they connect with. So the more stories you can tell, and again, actors run the fine line, and I just bring it back to that. Actors run the fine line of, they want what they want. They want a role. They want an agent. They want, money. They want to move, touch, and inspire, but they don't often speak in a way about what they offer. So it is a fine line. And you know what? You're not going to come out of the box knowing that. You're going to have to practice and see what works and what doesn't. Same thing in dating. I am a serial first-time dater. I got a lot of first dates under my belt because I'm listening, honestly, for something that makes me want to connect with someone and ask them more.
The spark.
Yeah. I can't tell you, and I don't want to dump on men in general.
Just share it.
But I can't tell you how many dates I've been on where I listen, and I'm a good listener. I'm a great talker, but I'm just as good of a listener, and I listen for certain things. And I can't tell you how many dates I've been on where they don't ask me a single question about myself. I will interject and share, but the fact that that guy hasn't asked me anything about me, my background, what I want, what I'm up to, I'm out.
Done.
In one date. Because if that's their behavior on a date, then I'm certainly not going to pursue that as a relationship.
Yeah, no, they got to be curious, interested in you versus just themselves.
Well, I know you're young, but I'm sure you've heard this expression before. Mm-hmm. It's better to be interested than interesting. Yeah. So, and again, you got to kiss a lot of frogs, but I don't even kiss them. So,
I love it. And it's a very like give and take, or give and receive, reciprocal kind of flow, symbiosis relationship in that first date, in that first communication, in getting to know this other person. How do you relate that to business? How does this like listening? Yeah.
Well, the first thing that when I coach clients, I ask them what they want. And I got to tell you, the hardest thing is for most people to actually articulate what they want.
Yep.
They're not defined enough. They haven't really, they want, I want to act and I want to make money. I'm like, well, there's really not a strategic path. You can be open to that and visualize that, and that's all great. But pardon me. What do you want? So I ask them to get as specific as possible. This is true for what do you want in a date? Mm-hmm. What do you want in opening up a hair salon or a restaurant? Mm-hmm. What is it that you want? So to the extent that you can really articulate what you want, then you can create a path to it.
Totally.
And once you start, and I like to work backwards, like, mm-hmm. okay, well, if I want an Oscar, mm-hmm. what do I need before I get the Oscar?
Totally.
Oh, I need to be nominated.
Yes.
And once I'm nominated, what came before that? Oh, the movie. and then we move backwards, right?
Yeah.
Pardon me. I apologize for this little cough I'm getting up. So what's great is that you can actually come down to and drill down to what's the next small step I can do tomorrow, which, by the way, is so much easier than going, I want to be an actor and make a lot of money and having no idea what to do tomorrow. So what was the question?
How does listening and the reciprocal giving
that was a good example, right? So listening for where you can provide value, because here's the truth, and I've learned this in lots of business seminars. Everybody's usually listening for what's in it for me. Mm-hmm. What's in it for me? The people listening now, why are they listening? They're listening for what's in it for them. Yeah. A nugget of inspiration, a piece of content that they can go out and implement, whatever they're listening for what's in it for them. So as a person who's aware that most people, and not like it's selfish, but I don't have a problem with taking care of myself first. There's a distinction there. Selfishness to the exclusion of everyone versus selfishness to raise your vibe and your energy so that you can serve. I like that kind of selfishness. But if you can listen from the point of what's in it for them and what value can I provide them? And by the way, I can't provide value for everyone. Right.
That's a powerful, that's a powerful distinction.
Yeah, we're not aligned. Just because I say something awesome, may not work for that person. Right. But I'm listening for what's in it for them that I can provide. And then when you be that person that provides that, they are much more aligned and much more interested, and a relationship can be formed. I used to use this example in my seminars. Do you mind if I do that with you? Well, there's not 5 of you. Usually I'll take 5 people in the front row and I'll ask the first 4 people to say no, and then I'll ask the last person to say yes. And I'll get out my phone and I'll say, would you like to buy my phone? No. Okay. Would you like to buy? No. And the last person will say yes. And then I'll go back and I'll ask the first person, I'll put them on the spot, why did you say no? And they look at me like, I'm like, you're an actor, make it up, right? So they'll go, it's a Samsung and I want an iPhone. Okay, great. you want something different than what I provide. Why didn't you buy my phone? It's a gold one and I wanted a black one. Okay, not the right aesthetics for me. Why didn't you buy my phone? It's too big. I want the smaller version. Okay, whatever, aesthetics. For whatever reason, 80%, this 80-20, the Pareto principle, 80% of people out there, whether it's marketing, whether it's dating, and I think it's actually gotten more like 98%, will never be interested in what you have to offer at any one particular time. You might circle back to them 6 months from now, 3 months from now, but right now they don't want it. And then why did that person say yes? Because it was a fit. Because they were in receiving and they were receptive to a certain style, size, whatever, and you provided that value at that time, and boom. So that's how great businesses work. You don't want to sell pencils to people who are only interested in pens. So listening to what they want, what's in it for them that you can provide is the key. And then being able to speak to that, communicate in writing, in emails, in snail mail. People still do that. In person, communication is key. It's like, how do I put the words in a particular order that will make a difference for them over there to let them know that I've got what they want? In dating, wine helps a lot. I do admit that. And when you stop laughing, I'll break out into song because that's my backup, right? Glad I could entertain you tonight.
I love it. I don't know if I would necessarily go with the wine, but it does help. It does.
Just kidding. So my question to you is, what hour are we in your 12-hour marathon?
We're in hour 10 going to 11, and then the last hour of the 12 hours is starting in 30 minutes.
And do you have 12 different guests?
We had 7 guests before you. You're the 8th guest.
Well, what happens when you have to go to the bathroom?
Take a break.
And so people tuning in see just the sign in the back?
No. Like there's typically 3 4-hour parts throughout the 12-hour marathon. Yeah, so from 9 to 1, 1 to 5, and 5 to 9 typically is what the...
You got to pee fast.
Yes, it's like I got 3 minutes to go to the bathroom, go outside, breathe some fresh air, take a bite of a protein bar, eat an apple.
You are dedicated. And how long? I'm going to switch this now. And how long have you been doing this?
Yeah, 45. This is marathon number 46. So since February of last year, February 9th of last year was the first one.
And why do you do it?
Because I love it. It's so much fun. I love learning. I love connecting with people. I love inspiring people. I love pushing myself to the limits. It is just...
Wow. I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
Very cool. And I really don't even remember how we came together, but it was something on Facebook.
Yes. Yes, I saw your energy and your profile. I was like, I got to have Lisa on my show. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, what other, fabulous things can I provide your
audience? Question. So you have tons of business and marketing experience. So what other lessons have you learned on your journey of being able to empower people to sell themselves, to develop their message, how to sell themselves, anything you got like that our audience can benefit from?
Well, I got to tell you, I have a lot of marketing and business experience now, but when I opened my first business, I had zero, none. I just had the belief that I could do it.
Yeah.
I don't know where that came from, except I'm confident in myself. But I also figured that the people I was serving was myself, meaning I was an actor. I was pursuing acting. I wanted an agent. I wanted more work. And when I had the opportunity to open up this business called Actors Connection, I actually bought it from an older couple who were retiring. And I thought, oh gosh, with new blood and new energy, I think I could really make something big out of this. But I'd never taken a business class ever. I'm a musical theater performer.
Right.
I just knew that I wanted to create something that this girl, who's, I'm going to say pretty picky, would walk into and be really pleased. Because if I could please myself, if I could create a place that I was proud to walk into and get great value and great attention and great service, then I'm my own best tough customer.
Totally.
So, and then I learned on the job. So that's what I would say is beginner's mind. If you can be in a situation with beginner's mind, I know is the worst 2 words on the planet to utter. I know that. Maybe it's 3. I know that. And I'm not saying anything that probably 70 other guests have said in the last, 10 weeks. But at the end of the day, that's why we're all on this show. And I love the minds that, I'm not making this up. There's a whole community of people out there. But the people watching, beginner's mind, come to every opportunity and every circumstance where you could create something more or you want to create something more with a beginner's mind. What can I learn? I've probably taken now since then, I can't tell you how many courses, week-long courses, day-long courses, every kind of, what I say, education is my recreation, right? I love to learn.
I like that.
And even when I go to a place where I've heard probably 99% of it before, I'm listening for that 1% I haven't heard before that I can take and go, ooh, I can apply that. And not only can I apply that, I can then share that. So teaching and learning is a cycle.
Yeah.
It's funny. I have a business coach I've been working with for about a year now. And she works with me every Tuesday morning when we talked this morning. And it's so funny because she's coaching me and I go, this is what I do for my clients, right? You're teaching me what I already know that I teach. And however, we teach it differently.
Yep.
It's the same content, but and then she does it in a way that inspires me, even though I kind of already know the techniques. And then I go, wow, she did it a different way. And I can now teach somebody else. So I can't teach what I haven't learned from somebody else. Right. So it just is a wonderful cycle. And you should always have a coach. I don't know who's listening out there, but you should always have a coach. If you love exactly where you are right now, and I hope you do, but if you want something different, get a coach.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Burn it up.
Burn it up. I love it. It's so much fun, Lisa. I love it. Okay, so you were saying something about education is your recreation.
Yes.
Which I love. And then you're also mentioning about the one thing. Like you go to a seminar and you're looking for the one thing, the one thing that's going to make a difference for you. When people are beginning their journey in personal development, in growth, in a new industry, in a new arena, they're like a sponge. For everyone listening, like be a sponge. And as time progresses, you become more and more wise. You become more and more grounded in your principles of what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Always come with this. I know that. Cut that out and be open. Be a student. Be a forever learner kind of thing.
Receiver.
Yes, receiver. And if you set your focus, like after you've gone through that process of learning, soaking up a good amount, and you have these principles, start being effective at setting your focus, setting your intention, setting your outcomes for the events that you go to, so that you can get that one nugget. What would make this event worth it for me? What outcome? What achievement? Would it be a new client? Would it be a new marketing process? Would it be, figuring out how to do HR? Would it be figuring out how to hire and fire? Like, what is that for you? Right. What would make the difference for you? And in the same way you can do that for events and seminars, you can also do that in books. People read books, and a lot of people just consume books just to do it. If you have a focus and a directive and a reason why you're reading that book, because you're looking for something specific that's going to make a difference in your business and an outcome that you want this book to have on your business, it'll be 10 times, 100 times more effective than if you're just one of those people who's like, I'm just reading 50 books a year because that's what I heard CEOs do.
It's interesting because intention, you mentioned the word intention. So in between, and I don't know if you know this because I didn't put it in my sheet to you, in between focused attention on Act Outside the Box, for about 18 months, I worked with a company that was strictly personal growth and development. And when I worked with them, it was in Phoenix, Arizona, and loved working for the company. Did not like the weather, so a little too hot for me. But the acronym VIBE, like high vibing, but VIBE I loved. And here's the acronym we came up with. V is for visualize. I is for intend. So first you have the thing you want, but you've got to know what it is. Then you have the intention, which is the action and the plan and the strategy. But the B is for belief. Remember when I said earlier there's a little gap there? And then the E is for experience, meaning you can't experience it. You can't manifest what it is that you want until you visualize it, intend it, believe it's going to happen, and then you have the experience.
Wow.
So I just loved working with that company and, taking all of, because the intention part, I also like the I for inspiration. I have a color-coded Gmail calendar. Like, how do I get stuff done, right?
Yes.
I work for myself. I sleep 10 feet from here. I get up. I'm in my little home office. But if I don't have an intention, I've got my vision. But if I don't have an intention and then set aside the time, and this is how you get, can I say shit?
Say it.
Get shit done is I have to set my schedule. Now I sit down in front of the computer from this time to this time, and sometimes I just don't feel like it. So here's a cute little clue is if you think it's going to take an hour, give yourself 2 hours. And that's what I put into my schedule because sometimes I'm just not inspired. So then I really use my first hour, half hour to hour to get inspired.
Yeah.
I will listen to some great music. I will write. I will meditate. I will dance. That's part of my 2 hours to accomplish the stuff that I intend. If I can't do that, then I'm committed to rescheduling that section of time. And I just drag it over here. So, the thing I like about myself is that I feel I'm a Libra, by the way. I'm born on October 10th, 10/10.
Awesome. I love
All about balance, right? So I've grown to the age, and we all know what that is now. If you tuned in late, I'm not saying it again. But I've grown to the age where I'm all about fun and joy and loving my life and living it. So if I'm over here going, I don't feel like doing it, then I don't do it. But I am committed to doing it, and I move it to another time or later. Hey, things displace. I have other opportunities come up. But that's how I get shit done. So the inspiration has to be present. Otherwise, it'll take 4 hours. If I can spend a half an hour getting inspired, then I'll get it done probably in 20 minutes. So action without inspiration. I was going back to the thing I like about myself. Okay. Sorry, I'm a girl. I get a little.
It's perfect. Off track. Follow the flow.
I like the fact that, and I think most of my clients would say this about me too. I've got practical steps and actions and content that will blow you out of the water, but it's all useless unless I can also inspire you to go out there and do it. Yeah. So the reason I think that my company has been as successful as it is, and that some of my clients, which I could share with you the wonderful things that are going on for them, is because of that balance. A lot of coaches out there tell you what to do, but aren't that inspiring. And then some are very inspiring and they don't tell you what to do.
Right.
And not that not like tell you what to do, but
help
give
you
the content. So the content, like the glass of water, right? There's the context, and then there's the content.
Yep.
the context is very important, because if you got a leaky glass, it doesn't matter what you put in it, it's going to drain out. So I try to bring that blend and that balance to the seminars I've created and that I offer, the products that I offer, the coaching that I offer. And because I wouldn't want to do it any other way. Because I want to have fun.
Yes. Yes. Speaking of you wanting to have fun,
Yes.
What's your why?
What's my why? Why? Well, I got different whys for the different things I'm doing. I don't have just one why.
Okay.
Let's see. My why for Act Outside the Box and that particular acting community and what I'll say, talents, performing artists, and this goes also for creative artists, is my why is we have a screwed up world. There's a lot of that ashes you were talking about at the beginning. There's a lot of war and conflict and destruction and crappy stuff going on. And I really think people that are creatives have a gift to give to a world that needs it. And if I can play any part in facilitating getting that beauty, that joy, that art, that creativity out there to a larger audience, like it doesn't even have to be me singing. That's what I loved about discovering that I was more interested in building my business at Actors Connection way back in the day, in the year 2000, than doing it myself, is because I'm only one person. But if I can help many people, there's this ripple effect. So my why is to be able to have creative artists get that art into the world that needs it. That's my why for that company. And I got lots of whys for other things. Other things. Like, I'm very passionate about animals, huge why around that stuff. And they're all sleeping right now. Otherwise, I'd introduce you.
How many do you have?
I have 2 dogs and a cat.
Wow. That's awesome. Awesome. So, in terms of your life, like what do you think your life is for? Is it for these professionals to deliver their gifts to the world? Is that like what you see yourself doing for the next, 20, 30, 40, 50 years? Like what's the impact that you want to share with the world?
Well, here's the thing. I'm a leader. I've just have developed myself that way, kind of a natural born leader. And I feel like I'm a messenger. So I can go sit on a hill and meditate all day, but I don't think I would be as fulfilled if I didn't use my leadership skills to contribute to a world. Yeah. So I love to, who I am is a playful, fun leader who expresses what I do through fun, play, song, and nature. That's my purpose.
Beautiful. I love it. I love all the possibility and enrollment and great language that you're using.
Well, it's during that time that I was leading those courses. A course was called Owning My Purpose, not just creating my purpose, but owning my purpose. And I had a co-leader, and we would bring people to figure out a purpose statement or a why. Like, who I am is a joyful, that's what I just kind of, and I know it, right? Because it lives in me. It came through this process and came up, and now I kind of live through that. Who I am is a joyful leader, fun, purpose, play, energy through fun, play, song, and nature. So that encompasses the animals and being outside. As a matter of fact, one of the things I've created for myself this coming summer is I have a camper. I love being outdoors. I'm going to take my camper up to where my family lives in the Lake Tahoe area. And I'm going to live in my camper for the summer because, my mom needs a little help. Lake Tahoe is very expensive. I don't want to live with my mom. I don't want to live with my sister. I love her. I get close, but relatives are like fish. After a few days, you gotta. I get to be up there, help my mom, play with my sister, be in nature, have my animals, and still, the computer works, so I can still do. I can have it all. And you can create it, whatever you want, whatever you think. Like you said, JFK said, a man on the moon.
Yep.
It's pretty phenomenal. If you can dream it, you can do it. All those cliches are true.
It's so true.
All
so
true.
Freaking true. It's just, I think what has happened in our society is we started saying them, and it's people are like, yeah, I love it. People bought into the philosophy. And then after a while, like, people would say it with sarcasm, with resentment, with a negative tone attached to it that totally took away the positive context and positive meaning behind it. So I think it's our responsibility to empower people to say, stop being a little bitch and, like, love the basics. Love the basics.
Let's invent another word besides cliche.
Well, there's trite, which is overused, right? Cliche is kind of overused. Trite is overused.
Yeah. It's a saying. It's a saying. Like, here's the thing. They say, I don't know who they are, but they say that, like, when people pass away, or die, croak, whatever you want to call it, the way we keep them close to us is in our thoughts and our minds and our language. I just loved that movie Coco that came out around Halloween, Dia de las Muertes. Did I say it right?
Sounded right.
People, Day of the Dead, where they spend that time revering their past loved ones, putting their pictures up there. That's how we stay connected. It's the same thing as these sayings. These sayings have passed down through eternity and through time because we revere them, because there's importance to them, because it's true. Not, truth is in the eye of the beholder a lot of the time, but through generations, there's a reason that we keep saying the same thing over and over and over again, because I didn't just have that experience once and make up that saying.
Right.
It's a community experience. It's a global experience sometimes.
Yeah. So
kind of cool.
I love it. And I think the point that we want to drive home for everyone listening is embrace the fundamentals, embrace the basics. And going back to that, I know that phrase, it's like people say that. Kids, I just picture kids when their parents tell them these phrases, these tried and true, like real phrases. Kids are like, yeah. And then, like, it starts getting this kind of negative connotation because the kid, like, felt like the parent was blaming or oppressing or, didn't understand, didn't get them. So it's just interesting how, even though we might be speaking the right language, depending on where it's coming from, depending on the relationship of the kid with the parent or vice versa, that can change completely the meaning of the words.
I'd just like to share two of the personal growth and development companies I've worked with.
Yeah.
Landmark Education. For many, many, many years, I did a course called the Wisdom Course. And one of the things that I got out of that is language creates reality.
Yes.
And I've experimented with this, when people say, hi, Lisa, how are you? And go, I'm great. Then they respond to you like you're great. Everything's fine. But hi, Lisa, how are you? Oh, man, I don't feel good today. And they, oh, really? Then that creates. Here's the thing. Even if I'm feeling not so great, but I want to raise the vibe and I want to have feeling better manifest, people say, Lisa, how you feeling? I'll go, I'm great. Even if inside I may not be. And people say, well, isn't that a lie? You should tell the truth. Well, I am telling the truth of how I want it to be.
Yes. Yes. It's present. What do I want to do? Be dictated by the present circumstances or be the creator of my reality and say, this is what I'm going for and ain't nothing going to stop me from it.
Exactly. And then another company that is kind of changed a lot since I started was Peak Potentials. Then it became New Peaks. Now it's something else. But one of the things that I learned a lot was how people behave around money. And all the sayings, money doesn't grow on trees. What do you think I am made of? Money? Or, that rich people are greedy and things like that, that if you grow up hearing that, that's your reality. And by the way, if you think that about people with money, you'll never have it. I think what I learned from that company is that money is just an outward manifestation of an inward space that you come from. It's energy. Money is just energy. And we've got a lot of agreement around it. But, there's no reason to be a starving artist. There's no reason to be poor except that you're poor up here.
Right.
You really can have anything you want. You really can. And if there's anybody listening out there right now whose first little inner dialogue went, oh, no, that's not true. Well, that's a place to start. But if you heard me say you really can't have anything you want, and that little voice in your head says, yeah, I can, then you're on your way.
Yes.
And for those of you that went, what little voice in my head? The little voice that just asked,
You got some
what little voice in my head? That little voice.
I love it. And it's no coincidence that we connected, because those are two of the biggest influences on my life, those two companies.
Really?
Yeah.
Aho!
Huge. Aho, warrior. Yes.
So be it.
So
I've done all 4 camps, by the way.
have you? Oh man,
Yeah.
I haven't done leadership or Moss Hog. Mine's the goal, though.
I've done them both. Oh, we have so much more to talk about.
I love it. Yes. Personal
And
development.
for those who don't know, Moss Hog, Mind of Steel, Heart of Gold.
Gold.
That's the acronyms, but yeah.
Balance
Great,
the
great,
wizard
great.
and warrior.
Yes, and the wizard and the warrior. I forgot the other phrases that we used in those, though.
It's I don't know.
But Ultimate Leadership Camp was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're all amazing.
I got the package, so they're due in the future.
How do you think I created Act Outside the Box? Was through Train the Trainer.
Yes.
I owe a lot of my business, and I love the way they teach how to open your mind to business, because I'm a creative, and like I think I said earlier, most people who are creatives didn't get into the business for the business. They got into the business because they wanted to create.
Totally.
But if the ultimate goal is to make money, you have to start treating your acting career like a business. And so I took all the stuff that I learned from there. I took all of my own experience in buying a business and then living in the business and what I heard from agents and casting directors. And I put it all together and I went, wow, I'd really love to share this with people. Because I really think more talented creatives deserve to be making more money than they are. And God, I hate the word starving artist. Hate it. There's no reason.
That is
Really
the worst paradigm to keep continuing and forwarding.
I actually have had people say, oh, I'd really like to buy your product, but I'm a starving artist and I can't afford it. Oh,
Stop it.
stop saying that stuff. That's the first place. Stop saying that stuff. And by the way, my stuff's priced for
Cost effective.
So, just saying. All right. What's next?
Love it. Wrapping up here, what is the final, call to action? You can share with people in a second about how they can stay connected with you, but really just from this interview, what do you want people stepping into? What new reality, what paradigm shift, what opening up do they get because of their time invested here?
Well, I like how you started with ashes to whatever
Rising
comes
from
out.
the ashes,
I keep coming back to there's contrast. The world, it's never going to go away. It's light, it's dark. It's spring, it's fall. It's summer, it's winter. It's front of the hand, back of the hand. Good and bad, up and down. The world is full of contrast. So just deal with it. And stop trying to not have the negative. The negative will always be there. But if you can realize that the negative is there so that you can look to the positive, so that you can create what you want from what you don't want. Abraham Hicks, another huge influence on me, huge.
Yes.
If you can keep your intention on that positive side and be receptive to what the universe will bring when you with purpose keep doing that, like your greatest intention is to stay on that front of the hand, man, your life is blown wide open. I don't know if I articulated that in a succinct way, but it's really just about being aware as often as you can being aware and guiding your thoughts, your eyes, and your language towards the light instead of the dark.
Yes.
Different from just positive thinking, you know,
Right,
I mean,
right.
which is, there's great value in that, but it's really a training. It's an experience. It's a feeling. It's a place to, I would say it's a place to come from, not a place to get to. So, and even all this wisdom certainly didn't come overnight. I've been a lifelong learner.
Yeah.
And that's what I would invite those people. By the way, the people who are tuning in, they're there, I would imagine.
Yes.
You've come here because you're a learner, a lifelong learner. So if anything I said today is inspiring, I've done my job.
Yes.
And thank you for having me.
Thank you. And have you read The Power of Now, Eckhart Tolle?
Of course.
Such a like amazing book to get present in the now, to like, oh my gosh, amazing.
I tell you, I read that book right after that whole Ponzi scheme debacle, whatever. And, you know, there's a lot of times, like I said, if you're not inspired or whatever, and I was going through a lot and I'm like, what did I do wrong? And how could I have been so stupid? And, but then when I read The Power of Now, in my backyard, in my house at the time in Weehawken, New Jersey, with the beautiful, you know, I'm like, let's look at what's around me. I got nature. I have animals. I have a beautiful home that they haven't taken away from me. I have food. I have, you know, more than the basics. I have friendship. I have love. And I got really present to what I had right now. Not what happened that I can't change. Not what's going to happen that I wasn't quite in the space then that I certainly am now, all these years later, where I felt I could create how I wanted it to be. But that book actually was pretty instrumental in getting to be so present that, yeah, there's so many things. We got to go out. You know, not like, I mean, you know, not like that.
We're talking about dating, so I can see how you might mix that up.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that. But we got more to talk about, Chris. I can tell.
Yes.
Let's have a coffee.
We are superstars. We'll absolutely meet up. You're right up the street. And yeah, Lisa, you're doing amazing work, and you're really applying and implementing all the stuff that you've picked up, all the learnings, all the lessons, and it's really, really inspiring to see you, you know, I would say like a couple steps ahead of me, and just like see you and you're thriving and building. It's awesome. So I just really appreciate you leading the path and sharing the information and the wisdom and all that you're up to.
Thank you. And I'll just leave you with this, because I think we're at the close, which is one of the taglines I have on my Facebook page somewhere, is by Helen Keller, a woman who couldn't physically see, hear, or speak. And she said, life is either a daring adventure or nothing.
Or nothing. Wow. So, Lisa, how do people stay connected with you? What do they do next?
Gosh. Well, my website is actoutsidethebox.com. Okay. If you go there, you will notice I have a cute little bob and short hair.
Oh.
And I will tell you, I've been working on a new product and a new project for about a year.
Wow.
And it's a whole new website. It's not up yet, so I can't direct you there. Okay. But the reason that the short hair is, it's just like, that's the last thing on the list. So go to actoutsidethebox.com. I don't even have an opt-in there anymore because things are changing. How do you stay connected to me? Just write me, Lisa at actoutsidethebox.com. I do have a wonderful blog there. It's mainly acting related, but there's a lot of contextual stuff that, even if you're not a performing artist, I think might be great for you, on time management and a lot of the other things that we've talked about. But if you are a creative artist, one of the things that I think that you had asked me is, I do have a brand new, not even released yet to my own audience product.
Wow.
Which is called Creating Killer Cover Notes.
Ooh.
What to say and how to say it. We talked about this communication thing a lot, and I've been building, you know, my email campaigns, and I'm going to be doing a webinar. Beautiful. And that's not going to be ready till the end of April, but the product is ready. Yes. You can't can you buy? Yes. There's a link, I think, that I sent you. Uh-huh. If you click on that link, it'll take you to the page that explains what this video course is all about. And it's like $49. I mean, like I said, it's pretty inexpensive because my audience is...
Target audience.
You know, Starving artists, but that's okay. I'm gonna
Changing that. Changing that.
How to get that agent, how to get to that casting director, how to speak about what you offer. And we said this, and I think it's valuable information, even if, yes, it's actor centric because that's my audience, but but just really how to speak in a way that invites you into their world, and so you can get what you want from them. So that's what is available. It's available now. If you have a question for me about anything I've said or about that product, it shall either be answered on the page there, or you can just email me, Lisa at Act Outside the Box. Again, it's not enough to think outside the box. You got to take action. The act is for action.
I love it. I love it. Lisa, you're a delight to be with. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing with our audience, and keep up the amazing creation.
Wonderful, Chris. Thanks for having me. And we'll have to meet at Starbucks on the corner.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Bye.
Take care, Lisa.